Bob and I want to welcome you to My New Day today. And I'm telling you, relationships are so important in life. You know, you've got them with your family, your coworkers, your neighbors, everybody.
Life is a relationship.
Live in relationships, relationship with God. And so we love to do series and bring in guests that can help us in really the areas of relationship.
Yeah, our guest is Rick Johnson, and he's a prolific writer, but here's what he loves. He loves people, and he wants to help people to be able to love their best life imaginable. And that includes you. And so Rick is an author of over 12 books, but the one that we're featuring in this series of 3 is entitled Romancing Your Better Half, and keeping intimacy alive in your marriage.
What? And I'm sure it doesn't matter if you're married or not, you're going to learn principles.
Yes, you will.
That's what I find all the time, Bob, about anything. If we might say we're talking about marriage, and sure, this is geared to marriage, but you are going to develop tools and principles, and we have an expert in the house today.
We do. I want to laugh just a little bit.
Okay, go ahead.
Our son Robert.
Yeah.
We'll just tell a little story
He's 13.
on him.
He's not here. We can tell a story.
But he hears mom and dad counseling on the phone all the time.
Yeah.
People in the house, that
It's just
type
our
of
life.
thing.
Yes.
It is. It's what we do. And he's counseling now his friends, and he's like,
how do I know all this stuff?
Yeah, how do I know all this? I'm really good at this relationship stuff, mom and dad.
And we're like, well, you're around it all the time. So, but the thing is that when you're around truth, you see, we need to turn up the truth in our hearts and our life so that we can enjoy our life that God has planned and wants to benefit your life. So there's hope for your relationships, and today is a great day.
Good. One more thing, and that's this. It's Miracle Monday.
Yes.
And as the Meisner family, and we're just passing it on to our New Day family, every Monday I want you to wake up with anticipation and recognize, hey, this is a great day. It's a Monday, and there is a miracle in store for you today. So to help me welcome to our program, Rick Johnson, our guest for this series. Rick, welcome to My New Day.
Look at you. You look like you're ready for a mini-series. Well,
I guess it's a compliment.
No, it is. You look totally. Well,
thank you.
I read.
I love your
book.
necklace, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. I love it too. It's brand new, and I got it on sale.
Definitely.
That's always better.
Yeah.
It's missing a stone.
And we always talk about the money you save, not the money you spend.
That's right. But it's Miracle Monday, and we're so glad you're here. But can you share with us a miracle?
Sure. Here's my miracle. I was raised in an alcoholic home, had an alcoholic stepfather, alcoholic mother, very abusive environment. So when I grew up, kind of followed in the footsteps that were modeled for me, did a lot of different things like that. Met my wife, got married, still continued to live that kind of a lifestyle. Had kids. And
so let's pause for a minute. That went really fast.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
No, that's
No. So where's your God concept?
Okay, well, I'm coming to that.
You are.
I don't have one yet. Okay.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
Yeah. So none growing up.
None. Never had anybody share the gospel with me. Never stepped foot in a church.
Ever as a young. Wow.
Not that I remember.
Yeah. Sure.
I guess it's possible, but
It happened to you.
so followed in the footsteps of our model.
Yeah.
Drinking, promiscuity, drugs. Got married. And then we had kids. And decided, I don't want to pass this legacy on to them. So I kind of threw myself into society's legal narcotics work and started a business, became pretty successful, started an environmental engineering firm. And
did you stop drinking?
Yeah, stopped all that kind of behavior.
Okay.
Why?
So you just started behaving?
Because I didn't want to pass that legacy on to my kids, like it was passed on to me.
Okay.
But I was focused on work and got late 30s and had everything our culture would say should make you happy and successful, cars, money, beautiful wife, kids. But I was miserable. I mean, really miserable. And I can remember driving down the highway and thinking to myself, if I just flicked this steering wheel into that telephone pole, all the anger and frustrations would end and I wouldn't have to deal with this anymore. Thankfully, that was not a legacy I wanted to pass on to my kids either. And so, at that stage in my life, I didn't really have anybody that I respected or looked up to that I could talk to. I had a lot of acquaintances, but not a lot of friends. And so I started looking at men's lives throughout history that I admired, great men throughout history. and trying to find what they had, because I wanted to live a life of significance. I wanted to make a difference in the world. And the only common denominator I could find between all these men throughout history who'd lived great lives were that they were all Christians.
Really?
Well, that was a huge blow to my worldview, because I was raised that all Christians were hypocrites, religion was a crutch for weak people. I mean, all those types of stereotypes, right?
Did you have any siblings?
I did.
Okay.
And
were they role models or examples
No,
or help
they-
to you? No?
they were same path I was on, probably.
Yeah.
And so, that was a blow to my worldview. So what I did is I spent a year studying the gospel on my own, trying to disprove them to myself. And after a year of studying them, I actually found that not only could I not disprove them, but believed them to be true.
Now, where's your wife Susan in all of this?
Suzanne came to Christ at age 5. Her grandma took her to church, and she can remember giving her heart to Christ at age 5. But like a good woman, she's following my leadership in the home. And
Is she observing your curiosity and your questioning?
I think she was, but probably during that process, she was maybe a bit skeptical. I don't remember a lot, but I'm pretty sure that was a pretty tumultuous time in our relationship and in our marriage. We were, and actually after a year, and then I had to give my life to Christ, because that's at that point. And of course, that changed a lot of things. We have a before Christ dad and after Christ dad at that point. And the interesting part is that I didn't know this, but my wife and her grandmother had prayed for me every day for 16 years before I came to Christ. So,
and literally, I hate to just say it like this, but that is a miracle.
that is a miracle,
The
because
miracle,
now
a
God
miracle.
is using me to touch thousands of people's lives
Yes.
through books, through speaking,
Yes.
through things like
And to
that.
think that you had it in you to find a role model and found the gospel.
Well, ultimately, God, Jesus,
Yeah.
is the role model,
Yeah.
but
Yes.
you don't know that. Well, you don't know what you don't know, right?
Yeah.
And
So
so,
Suzanne was just silently in the background.
silently in the background praying.
Yeah.
But we like many couples. I mean, we went through some pretty tough times. We've been married 34 years now, and that first 16 years, especially, was some very tough times. And so, yeah, like I said, thankfully, God, I think, doesn't allow me to remember a lot of those early days. But
then that led you to establishing Better Dads,
Right.
a ministry.
Exactly.
Better Dads, and the website betterdads.net. A passion to help boys become men who will be great fathers.
part of that, yeah. I mean, again, like we were talking about earlier, when I had kids, it was like, what do I do now? I mean, I had no clue what a good father was like, what my role as a man, as a husband, as a father was. So now what do I do? I know what I don't want to be like as a dad, but what do, if you haven't had it modeled, what do you know? So my passion that God placed on my heart was to help men to be more engaged in the lives of their families, just to encourage them, give them some tools for their tool belt.
Yeah.
And to help boys who didn't have positive male role models, didn't have dads in their lives, to grow up to understand what it means to be a man, to be a husband, to be a father.
I love it.
Wow.
That is such a miracle.
That is a
Whenever
miracle.
someone finds Jesus, and then, I just think it's the
At
best
age 40, right?
At age 40, and to think of where you come in this, and you're only like 45 now, so it's like amazing what you've done in
Great
these.
transformation.
Yeah.
No. I mean, at age
thank
40,
you. Yeah,
what a beautiful
Yeah.
transformation.
Glory be to God.
And that
right?
brings a lot
Yeah.
of faith to people who are praying for husbands right now.
Exactly.
And to not stop praying and not stop believing there is a miracle for your family. We believe in fighting for families. So don't lose hope.
Don't
You're watching
give
this
up.
on purpose. I want you to know this program is for you.
Yeah, 16 years praying.
Yeah.
16
Yeah.
years. That's a
Yeah,
lot.
that still kind of chokes me up a little bit, actually. So,
Sure.
That's beautiful.
Wow.
Thank you for sharing your heart with
Thank
us.
Now you've authored, over 12 books, and so this one comes later down the road. romancing your better half. All right. So you've had 34 years to write this book.
Yeah,
So
well,
you are saying that you are the romantic genius. We today, people, have the romantic
We've got a miracle
genius.
in the house who has become a
don't
romantic
go there.
genius.
You're putting way too much pressure on me. Here's
was
the thing.
purposeful.
Well, my publisher came to me and said, "We want you to write a book on romance." And I was like, "Really? I mean, me? You know? I mean, you know, maybe Bob might be the big romantic lug, but I'm just a regular guy, right?" So
I think
it was a hard
women
book
need
to
to write
write.
the book on romance and tell men to read it.
Exactly.
You know?
So tell us about the book. What motivated you behind it? I mean, I've read this book. There's some incredible. You are so practical, Rick. So just help introduce our audience to this subject.
Well, you know, I think being married is a gift from God. It's, you know, there's a huge body of research that shows that married couples are happier, they live longer, they're healthier, they have better off financially, they got fewer financial problems than people that aren't married. And the problem is, you know, marriage is struggling in our culture right now. And why is that? There's a lot of reasons why that's happening. Part of it is, I think, is the expectations that are created, first of all, because when we first meet somebody and we're all
On
Twitter-pated,
perfect behavior,
exactly,
too.
and we have all these hormone drugs running through our bodies that are allowing us to forgive all these strange behaviors and things that are going to bother us later on. And then a few years down the road, when those drugs dissipate in our system, and people goes, "Well, I'm not happy with them anymore." And I'm like, "What's the same? They haven't changed. They're the same person that you were originally attracted in." And part of it is, you know, our culture would tell us that our differences are bad things. But they're not. That's what's attracted you to the person that you were attracted to.
In the first place.
And typically, for instance, with my wife, her strengths compensate for my weaknesses and vice versa. My strengths compensate for. So as a team, we are much greater than the sum of our parts are much greater than we are individually. That's not what our culture tells you. Our culture says if you're not happy, divorce them and find somebody else that makes you happy. Right?
So you're really saying,
So my
let's
goal with the
change
book was
paradigm.
to try to say,
Yeah.
look, here's the deal. I've been married a long time. I'm not an expert at anything except for making mistakes,
Except
maybe.
for romance.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, we don't have my wife here, so I'll say, yeah,
Say,
okay.
yes, that is true.
So, you know, but I think that's what married couples need to hear today is this different narrative than what they're hearing from our culture and from the media.
And to bring encouragement. We were made
Marriage
to be
is a
happy.
blessing. It really is a blessing.
And
in your
as
life.
much as marriage won't make you happy, it can make you very happy to be in this marriage. It has the potential to really be a great life.
I think it completes us. It makes us, as a team, closer to the image of God than we can possibly ever be on our own.
Yeah. And hence the challenges, because we are growing.
Well, and I think marriage is hard, and anybody that says it isn't hard is either lying or they're deluded, right?
Right.
Or not married.
But marriage is supposed to be hard, or not married. Marriage is supposed to be hard. All great things in life that are worth doing are difficult.
Right.
There's not anything of significance that is truly good in the world that we do that's easy. And so, because marriage is hard, just confirms how important it is. Raising kids is hard. Being married is hard.
But the reward is
That's
as far as
and
that
that's the way
wide.
you know, like when I take a look at Audrey and I in our marriage, you know, I think it's been pretty easy, honestly, and yet we have one of the greatest catastrophes anyone could
exactly.
ever imagine.
I was going to say.
All right? No, but the reward and the benefit
of fighting
of
through.
knowing God,
Right.
you see, and knowing His purposes far outweigh any hardship in life.
Right. And going through those hardships together and persevering through them. You know, one of the things that I talk about that I think is most important in marriage is perseverance. Now, we don't often think of perseverance as being this big of a deal. I talk to men all the time about character quality of perseverance and how important that is. It's not a sexy character trait.
Right.
But it's what makes it that when we persevere through those difficult situations, when we come out the other side, anytime anybody has been through difficult times, people that have been through war together, been through catastrophic circumstances, it bonds them tightly together. And so when we go through these hardships and difficulties, because there's going to be peaks and valleys in marriage, anybody's marriage is going to have them.
And can I tell you, just when you say that word perseverance, maybe it's not a sexy word, but I'll tell you, it is a romantic word to a woman.
It is a romantic word.
Because as a woman, as the woman on the set right now, I'm telling you, one of my greatest needs is to feel safe.
Right.
And when Bob is a persevering man deep in his character, when I talk about Bob, I would say he's a loyal man and he's persevering. That is romantic. It might not mean that it's not the fluffy romantic like movies that you see, but that is a romantic thing because it means he's steady.
Thing. I wrote that down.
Steady Eddie, man. That's right.
am.
I say my husband's like a yellow lab. He's so persevering and steady, and that is very romantic.
Yeah.
So,
I think it is.
Yeah. So there you go.
Well, you know, here's the thing: is again, my wife. You know, we're married today because my wife persevered. Her attitude was, we're married for life, right? Now, if I'm being honest, when we got married, that probably wasn't my attitude because that's not what was modeled for me. You know, divorce, again, if you're not happy, go find somebody else. But she was willing to persevere and do some things probably that she wasn't necessarily happy about because it helped persevere so that we stayed together today. You know, one of the things from my perspective of, you know, I have people all the time say, well, how do you know when you meet the right person? And for me personally, I can remember on our second date, my wife put a card on the dashboard of our car and then went and did something, and I picked up the card and looked at it, and all it said on it was, I believe in you. And I thought, nobody in my whole life had ever told me that. The home I grew up in, I got just the opposite message. You know, who are you? Who do you think you are? You'll never amount to anything. And here this person puts this beautiful little wild creature I believe in you. And I thought, I don't know for sure if she did, but she sure went to the top of the list in a hurry with that one right there. So, you know, so just that attitude of persevering and understanding through the years is what's kept us
Because
together.
you have to believe in someone to persevere. You have to believe in the future of what we can be together to persevere through the hard parts.
It's great.
Yeah,
great
so that's
point.
true.
Yeah. Today, as people are hearing, you know, your story of transformation, you know, of husband and wife, and the area of perseverance, what are the qualities, or what does a person really do? I mean, for some people, they might feel as though if I'm persevering, all I'm becoming is just a doormat for somebody else, you know, for their dysfunction, you know, for their addictions, whatever it might be, and all you're doing is putting a label on it of perseverance. When, you know, I feel as though my dignity and my value and worth is being robbed from me.
And I understand that. I think that, you know, we do have to be careful that we don't become used and become doormats. And the truth of the matter is, like we all know, you can't change other people. You can only change yourself. And there's the, I think, wrong adage about that it takes two to change. Well, it doesn't take two to change a marriage. It takes one to change a marriage. We change ourselves, and other people change in response to the changes that they see within us.
Exactly. That's so good.
I just read a story, a blog or something the other day from, I don't even remember who it was from, but marriage struggling mightily, and finally the husband decided he was going to do something about it, and he, you know, got it. In fact, their daughter had said to them, her greatest fear when she was little is that they would get divorced, and when she got to be about 12, her greatest fear was that they wouldn't get divorced because they were fighting so much.
Wow.
And so this prompted him to change it, and he just got up every day and he said to his wife, what can I do today to make your life better?
Wow.
And of course she was really mad at first. She's like, you know, whatever, do the dishes, right?
Right.
And continued to be bad, and eventually broke down. And
She softened.
And she softened and started changing and started realizing that she needed to ask him what she could do to change to make his day better as well. And so it's just a matter, though, of one person having to decide that they're going to change to make a difference in the relationship.
And that brings a lot of hope. And that takes a lot of perseverance.
It takes a lot of courage
Yes.
to do that, because the fear of rejection is so great that people, I think, are afraid to do that sometimes.
Yeah. During your seeking, you know, season in life and pursuing things, were you communicating with Suzanne? Were you telling her what's going on, the struggle? you know, or were you kind of in isolation, just doing this on your own?
That's a great question. I'll have to ask her about. I don't like I said, I don't remember a lot about that. My instinct is that I was kind of on my own. I think we were struggling pretty mightily.
It
in our
doesn't sound like
marriage
you were
at that
super
time.
connected at this point.
And I can remember telling Suzanne things like, because we'd been through years of counseling individually and together, and I remember saying, I don't know if this is ever going to make a difference, and saying things like, I think too much water's been under the bridge, and so I don't think we were real connected.
Because
at that point.
I find that couples during seasons like that, they're looking for the other person to pull the plug. They're looking for the other person to take this step. Although they're wanting to persevere, they're wanting it to work, and it's like they're giving a little bit of pushback and like, can I do one more thing to where now you'll be the one that will be responsible for the divorce, that type of thing.
Right.
And so I just want to really encourage people today, hold on. And they're wandering and they're looking and they're seeking. It might just be that they're nearing that corner where they're going to turn the corner and things will begin to happen.
And we just always quit right before the
Right
breakthrough,
before
right?
the
Right when it's
breakthrough.
darkest.
Yes.
Right before the light, right?
Right.
I mean, so.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to tell everyone about how to get this book, and then we're going to start to tackle some of the ideas of romancing, his needs, her needs. We got a lot to cover in this series. You've got a lot of great stuff in here. So we're going to let you know how to get the copy of this book. But then Rick is going to be back to help us to apply today's program to your life. What does it look like to persevere for you? We'll be back with that answer right after this.
My New Day offers a wealth of resources dedicated to seeing marriages restored, marriages thriving in life and love once again, and marriages lasting a lifetime.
This past summer, we had the privilege of having Bob and Audrey Meisner come and share their testimony. They really dig into the work that it takes to partner with the Holy Spirit and overcome it. We saw incredible fruit here of marriages that were in difficult places, that they were inspired to keep working at it. People that were confessing some shortcomings and even areas of sin to one another so that they could actually bring wholeness and help. I would highly recommend you getting the opportunity to hear Bob and Audrey share from their life experience with candor and humor and tears and authenticity, how God can bring healing to marriages.
Partner with Bob and Audrey, and when you do, you share in the reward of connecting individuals, marriages, families, and communities to the transforming love of God. This is Fighting for Families. Partner with them today. Call or give securely online. Your financial gift is not only needed, but is necessary to help ensure this message of hope continues to reach into the homes and lives of those in need. Call now. Your gift makes the difference.
When we move into holiday seasons, I really try to live with real intention. I don't want to just let the season or the days go by without purposefully, engaging my life, because it's amazing how quickly the years go by.
It really is. And what I want to encourage you with you today is, yes, we want to be connected with you. We want you to sign up for our email devos every day that we can email to you, because prayer changes things. Bob, you talk about intention, but don't give up. It is important to take time to pray.
Yeah. So as this year draws to a close and we wait with breath, anticipated breath, for the next year, go with it with intention, because I really believe this next year can be really wonderful for all of you. So let's just take a moment to pray, and that we might experience His grace for this coming new year.
Yes, Lord.
Father, thank you for loving us and for connecting us extravagantly to your love.
And I pray for the one watching right now, for their family. Lord, you know each one very personally, and I pray that you'll reach them and pursue them with your love. Thank you, Jesus. Amen.
Man's biggest problems is that because we are programmed to solve problems, we think that a lot of times when females are talking, they want us to help them solve a problem, and they
Right.
don't.
No, we just want
They
to
want to process. They
Yes.
want to draw it more intimate. They want to draw closer.
And then, you know what?
together.
You had an incredibly great quote. I don't even have to turn to it. But in this book, you said, good and great communication is when someone feels understood. And when you feel understood, it just makes you feel so loved and so safe.
Plan to attend one of our Love Married Life intensives in Phoenix, Arizona.
Bob and I have designed a marriage intensive offering long-term solutions to move your marriage from pain to thriving in life and love.
Biblically based, this 3-night intensive will focus on you. Discover your blind spots, learn from your conflicts, and laugh and dream together again.
Attending a Love Married Life intensive may be one of the best investments you will ever make.
Our guest is Rick Johnson, and the book that we're featuring is entitled Romancing Your Better Half. You can see more about Rick in the ministry of Better Dads at betterdads.net. But in closing today's program, I just want to ask you, Rick, today we've talked, I think, giving people a lot of hope.
Definitely.
You know, to persevere and not to give up.
Yeah. I think one thing that we really need to keep in mind is that marriage is not, and your spouse in marriage is not something that completes you, which is something that our culture tells us. Actually, your spouse is designed to cause you to struggle to grow into a more mature and complete version of yourself. And so I think a lot of it is perspective. If we keep into perspective what marriage really is and what marriage really isn't,
Definitely.
because again, we're getting a lot of mixed messages from our culture. It makes it a lot easier for us to, one of the things my wife and I, when we counsel young couples, is we always tell them, keep a long-term vision of your marriage. Okay?
Good.
That's
Because
awesome.
then those little things that normally drive you crazy aren't that big of a deal.
Yes.
But, look at this as a 30, 40-year thing and not just a 2-year
That is
thing, right?
excellent
Because some
advice.
seasons are going to last a year, right?
Yeah.
So
That's excellent advice.
Persevere.
Thank you so much. Persevere, and
Yeah.
that's true.
Keep a long-term vision.
That's good advice.
See yourself as that grandma and grandpa.
Yeah.
See yourself
getting
playing
closer,
with
Bob.
your
I feel like I
grandchildren.
can see it.
Absolutely. See yourself laughing in life and enjoying your golden years. Audrey,
Yes.
your parents are the best at this.
I know.
Recently, we celebrated Audrey's 50th birthday, and friends came and they saw Willard and Betty dancing.
Yeah.
You see, and they were like so jacked up. They're like, I want to be old like that.
Yeah, dressed up like
Keep
a cowboy.
long-term
It was
vision.
fun.
Good. Rick, thank you.
We're going to be back, and Rick is going to be on for the next 2 programs, and we're going to talk more about romancing your better half. And have a great day. We'll see you next
We'll see
time.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.